That's why you have so much division in the nation. Because people got different perspectives instead of looking at it from a universal perspective. So if you look at it from a universal perspective, it's all going to be all minds being one. No matter where you are on the planet, what direction you're moving in, as long as you got your basic foundation, I can go into a church and speak. I can go to a mosque and speak. I can go to a synagogue and speak and not be changed in my character. But I'm grounded. And we're taught to build and teach universal. Because the lesson tells us we got to teach all the human family of the planet Earth. That doesn't mean you'll teach black people. That don't mean to teach Indian. All the human people, all the human family of the planet Earth. But you got to know how to speak to them. You can't come in with your pants down. Maybe you have to in some ciphers that you can be related to. Some ciphers you can't go in like that. You got to know how to what? Dress accordingly. And when you dress accordingly, you look a certain way, then you got to be able to speak a certain way. Sometimes you got to go amongst the people to speak their language. You know what I'm saying? But then the way their language is being articulated, you have to be able to be sharper than them in their own language so they can be attracted to what you're saying. Because if you come in there saying the same thing they're saying, it's like everything is going in a circle. It ain't really elevating itself. It's going around. So somebody got to, as they say, to be the best knower. That means the person can speak it's a little bit better. That's what I say about knowledge or being born to wisdom. That you can be able to articulate your words and keep your word being bond by civilized and uncivilized. The same way you teach young people. You know what I'm saying? You got young brothers in this nation, young sisters in this nation that's new, considered newborn. Meaning you new from being resurrected from mental death and power. Now you're being attracted to the brothers or sisters that have the ability to speak to you to make their word being bond, to keep you abreast on how to elevate yourself. So you have to do certain things. You have to make certain adjustments, certain changes in your life for you to be part of the universe. You're not going to do the same thing that's always gotten you where you at. You had to do something different in order to be ignited with the knowledge of self. Somebody approached you, somebody said something that stimulated something in you and said, you know what? I'm not going to wear no hat no more, I'm going to start wearing a crown. You know, I'm going to stop shaving and let my hair grow. I'm going to start reading Message to the Black Man, to come to where the gods are building at, or can I get some supreme mathematics? Can you explain it? When you start getting questioned about certain things, now you got to have your interest, your appetite, you're thirsty. Now you got to get that thirst quenched. You got to continue to go on the path that you're going so you can become a universal builder. And that's across the board. No matter what, all minds still should be one. No matter what school you go to, you shouldn't have the wherewithal to be pulled into another cipher if you say you're about this cipher. That's why the brothers that building the law team, they Muslim. Stay Muslim. Why you got your affairs over here in the nation of gods and earth unless you're trying to get the weak ones? Because that's all they're going to do. Because a lot of brothers is dissatisfied with the way they perceive the nation of gods and earth should be for their lack of understanding. You got some brothers that won't even deal with the lessons. They say the lessons is outdated. But I beg to differ. What it is, their understanding is outdated. Because the lesson's been in since 1930, as far as we know, but it probably was in existence before that. But we got them in July 4th, 1930, when Master Farad Muhammad came to the ones in North America and found Elijah Muhammad and then passed it on down. That's the birth of the nation of Islam as we know it. And then the father took those same lessons, drew them up, realized that he was God, came amongst us, started teaching the baby at that time, and realized that he was God. Then he took that same lesson, made them adjustments where they had to make the adjustments at, and then gave them to us, so we could still be the universal builder. We ain't got to change the way we are. We become more sharper in our delivery, but we still use the same foundation that Master Farad Muhammad brought. Same lesson that Elijah teaching. Those are Muslim lessons. But our understanding, we can have them elevate, so we'll be able to not sit up home waiting for Mr. God to bring us anything. We go out there and get it on our own. You know what I'm saying? We know the reality that we want something, you got to go out there and get it. If you're hungry, you got to go over there and find where the food is at. You can't sit down and sit up home wait for Mr. God to bring you food. I'm hungry, I'm going to get some. And the law of survival state that if I can't pay for it, I got to get it by any means necessary. But I'm not trying to break the law, but I'm hungry. Now how much more real do I have to be? Listen, I'm hungry, brother, can you help me out? You see people on the street be begging for money sometimes. I used to say, well, what you going to do with this money? I stopped doing that. If I'm buying a restaurant and I'm buying something and they hungry, I say, yo, give me a chicken sandwich. And I'll pay for it. You know, something like that. I'm not giving you no money in the street. If you buy the liquor store, yo, you get 50 cents. No, I ain't buying no liquor for you. But that's my choice because it's my money. Even though you're begging me for it, I have the option to give it to you. So if I'm by a restaurant, I don't see nobody hungry. You know, there was a guy on my block, he died now. Every day, he asked me for $1 for a cup of coffee and a newspaper. He used to drink, but he always bought the newspaper, he always bought the coffee, sat on the corner on the ground of the restaurant, sitting there reading the paper and drinking coffee. He'll be drinking later on in the course of the day. So, this is all part of us being who we say we are. We say black people. You have to find your technique to be able to express or articulate your mathematics to the masses of the people. Everybody's not going to get it the same way, but they can get something that you say. It could be one word that you can say that makes somebody go home and say, man, what that brother said made a lot of sense. Let me go check out the dictionary. Or let me go check out this. Let me read this book. Let me see what I get out of it. And then you start getting it, you apply it to yourself. Then you start reaching out to the brother that you know as part of the cipher. And you can say, I'm going to go to one of the parliaments. I want to see what the parliament is about. You don't have to speak. Do the knowledge. Then you can ask questions. Find somebody you're comfortable with and say, can you explain such and such to me? And the way they explain it to you will make you see the reality that the black man is God. There's no such thing as a mysterious being, no devil in the ground. But if it ain't taught to you the right way, they still have you going left when you should be going right. And that's what's wrong with some of these brothers. A lot of people's mind is not set and rooted properly. So when somebody come amongst you, they can easily take you and lead you in the wrong direction instead of leading you in the right direction. But you got to have enough sense to say, you know what, that don't make sense to me. Let me go check and ask somebody else. Then you start doing things in one mindset, all minds being the same one. They gonna be no different. You talk to any of these brothers, they ask them a certain question, they gonna give you the same answer or something close to what was already said. Then you know you're in the right area, you have a ride. So that's how you gotta look at it. You gotta build and add on just like that. These brothers are twisted. That's the way of the world. You know? That's the way of the world.